of the week.
Hey, what's up, dudes and dudettes? Big Jake here, and welcome back to another album of the week. This week, we're going to be taking a look at a little EP from one of my all-time favorite pop-punk bands called the Ataris. Now, this album is called All You Can Ever Learn Is What You Already Know. The Ataris are a sweet little band, and although some of their earlier stuff might have sounded a little generic, they grew and progressed with each release. Now, their fourth full-length album, So Long Astoria, is probably their best-known release. They covered Don Henley's Boys of Summer on that. That was probably the breakout track. It was kind of more of a melancholy, darker, I guess, pop-punk sound than a lot of other bands of their time. If you haven't listened to that, I highly suggest it. It's a great album, and I definitely suggest listening to it before you listen to this EP, because this was recorded around the same time, and it includes some demos from the album and some songs that I'm guessing were influencing them around the time that they wrote it. This was released a couple months, I believe, before So Long Astoria, and I'd heard a story about this. I looked online to try to verify that story, and I couldn't find any information on it, so this may or may not be true. But I heard that this EP was only released in Australia. Now, the reason that is because the Ataris have a very big fan base in Australia, or at least they did at the time. And they had to cancel a tour there, or cancel a couple stops in their tour there. And this is kind of an apology letter to their fans in that country. I've always been a fan of B-side and rarity compilations from bands. I kind of like to get behind the scenes and hear their creative process, get to hear kind of what's influenced them, how they've grown, and the development of songs and things like that. And the Ataris didn't have a lot officially released in that kind of area of things. They did have a couple split 7 inches with other bands, but this was one of their earliest releases, kind of in that category that gave you a taste of what was going on behind the scenes. Now, in 2013, they released the So Long Astoria Motherload. It just has all kinds of studio outtakes, all kinds of demos. And if you're interested in that kind of stuff, you can download it on Bandcamp for free. I'll give you a link in the description. The first track was kind of cool at the time, but today it's not going to be much of a draw. It's Takeoffs and Landings. It's the exact same version that they included on So Long Astoria, so it was a little bit of a preview at the time, but today you can just listen to it on the full-length album, so not a huge deal. The second is 8 of 9, which is also a track they included on So Long Astoria. This is supposed to be a demo of that track. It's very similar, once again, not too much of a draw there. Then they do a cover, Teenager of the Year. That's pretty cool. I don't think you can get that anywhere else, only on this EP. They have an acoustic version of their hit song 11596. And like I said, I'm a sucker for the behind the scenes stuff, so I love that vibe. Just Chris Rowe sitting with his acoustic guitar, singing the song for you. And I know that's not everybody's cup of tea, and it's definitely very different than their normal stuff. The fifth track is my favorite track on the album. It's a cover of a Smoking Popes song, Pretty Pathetic. If you don't know the Smoking Popes, man, you gotta check them out too. Just excellent lyricism in that band, and they do a good job writing their songs. The version included on this EP is pretty stripped down. It's only piano and vocals, which I think is a cool vibe. A lot of Smoking Popes fans tend not to like this cover. They think it's lacking emotion, and I don't get that from this track. I actually love it. It's not as good as the original, I'll give you that, but it's a cool little cover, and just a look into some of the music that might have been influencing them around the time they were writing So Long Astoria. And the last song on the EP is another acoustic rendition of one of their songs, Fast Times at Dropout High. I definitely don't think this EP is where you should start with the Ataris, but if you're already a fan, it's pretty cool. If you haven't heard them before, like I said, definitely check out So Long Astoria. If you're more into indie rock or emo, I'd try Welcome to the Night. That's another album by them that is really underrated in my opinion. I hope you guys enjoy the music recommendations. Please be sure to like, subscribe, and until next time, my dudes, stay classy.